Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the West Coast Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Richard Frias Guzman. And on today's episode, I will be talking about the Dodgers here briefly as they ended up wrapping up their series with the Cubs. I believe it was a 4-game series, split the games 2-2. Just kind of continuing on with their 500 season as of now. We'll talk about Kershaw having another victory. Mookie ended up coming up big in that game. And then we'll just talk about, lastly, the Lakers, of course. The Lakers ended up having their game on Saturday night, going up against the Grizzlies. Came away with that victory, made it a very convincing victory, especially in the first half there. 111 to 101. Dodgers beating the Cubs 7-3 last night after losing that pretty tough one there, 13-0. Yikes, right? So with that being said, I do just want to so we'll just be talking all about those two games there, guys. Just to go in that way, catch you guys up. Hope you guys had a good weekend. I am just recording this on an early Monday morning. It is April 24th, 2023. This is going to be episode, I think, 138. So definitely just go ahead and definitely just hope you guys had a great weekend, and hopefully this gets you guys going for your Monday and gets your week going on in the right direction. So with that being said, I just want to remind you guys that you guys can find me on Instagram and on Twitter. It's going to be the same handle. It's going to be West Coast Pod 702. Again, West Coast Pod 702. Definitely drop me a follow. Tell any friends and family members about this. If you think that they'll enjoy it, definitely go ahead and pass it on over to them. And then if you guys have Facebook, maybe you don't have any of those other two social medias, you guys can follow me on Facebook as well. I have a page on there. It's called West Coast Sports Podcast. So definitely going to drop me a follow. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Just tell me you guys like the podcast, you don't like the podcast, whatever the case is. I like to go and just talk to you guys and just chat it up, whether if it's about sports or anything in general. So with that being said, guys, let's go right into the podcast and we can go in and go right into talking about the Dodgers. So the Dodgers ended up coming away with that victory 7-3 last night. Kershaw coming away with another victory, making his record 4-1 so far for the season. Coming away with kind of just showing that he's at least back to the form where he can start on a regular basis, and he's able to come away with convincing victories. Maybe if he's not extended too much or anything like that, maybe if it comes down to it after a little bit of time, you can give him some more rest so that way maybe later on down the season we still have him, because it has been rough sometimes that there's been some postseasons where where we don't have him playing, or he's not playing up to form, if you would, or he's not playing to the best of his ability because of some sort of an injury that kind of lingered on. But we'll definitely have to go in and see what kind of happens with all that. I am just excited to go in and see how the rest of his season goes on, because it is going to be a very important season, especially with the lack of pitching that we have. We have some players that are kind of coming back and trying to get back into form. It is big. It is, I think, one of the biggest reasons why the Shohei Ohtani rumors continue to go on and on, because if he does join the Dodgers, not only does he handle our pitching, our batting, he can also, and it'll just be a kind of like a 2-for-1, if you would. He get a player of Shohei Ohtani's magnitude, a guy who can be out there. He can field, but he has an incredible bat. He has an incredible arm where you can put him into the pitch rotation, and then he can still have him bat maybe 3 out of the 4 games that he's gonna be waiting until he's up again in the rotation. So definitely will be interesting to go in and see what kind of movement the Dodgers can go in and ultimately do, and if they're able to maybe even gather or get a hold of Shohei Ohtani somehow. If they're able to, again, definitely it'd be interesting to go in and see what they could do with all that. A lot of people have been thinking, or a lot of people have been speculating that James Outman would definitely be the biggest piece in our side to go in and give up or to go in and acquire Shohei Ohtani. And I'm definitely thinking that that's the right way. I think every team right now is definitely going to be interested in James Outman. He is our shiniest toy that we have right now. He's a guy who looks really good, has a lot of pop off of the bat, is a guy who, is also not an easy out, if you would. He's hitting for a pretty good average. He's hitting with power. He's actually even a really good fielder. He has an incredible arm out there in center field. So for most teams, in my opinion, if you are looking at James Outman right now, would definitely be the time to go in and get him, because he is going to be a player that for years and years and years to come, he is going to continue to go ahead and impress people. He's going to continue to go ahead and, you know, show that he can make improvements, if you would. It is just a matter of the right kind of team getting a hold of him, being able to go ahead and groom him in that type of direction, so he can be an easy, top 10 player in the league. And if that is definitely something that's possible, I don't see any reason why any team, especially if you have a player like a Shohei Ohtani that you're not going to be able to pay, might as well get something out of him, right? That's my opinion. Now, the other rumor that's been going around with the Dodgers, maybe a player that they can acquire, has been Nolan Arenado. So Nolan Arenado, he is the third baseman now with the Cardinals. He formerly with the Rockies. And in my opinion, I think that this is a long time coming. Even when he was getting traded or being moved from the Rockies over to the Cardinals, the Dodgers were one of the teams that were interested in him. And I think that it mainly came down to, I think they wanted certain players, they wanted more money or something like that. And I think we're willing to but we're willing to trade the players that they wanted. It was mainly all minor leaguers at the time. Now, I guess we'll have to see what happens now. The Cardinals, I think, are a bit in a bad situation. I believe similar to like how the Rockies were. They are gonna end up owing this guy quite a bit of money now, or he's gonna be expected to get paid quite a bit of money now. And the Dodgers, of course, are one of the few teams that can definitely go and pay him, of course, and all that. But it is gonna be a thing of like, are you gonna pay this guy too much? Because he's now, in my opinion, on the other side of the hill, if you would. I think he's now going to be starting to decline from how good he was, from being a Gold Glover, from being a Silver Slugger from back in those days with the Rockies. He's still an amazing third baseman, and don't get me wrong, especially better than what we currently been having now that we've been having some that ever since Edwin Rios has been hurt. We definitely want to go ahead and make sure that we solidify that third base position. So then that way it's not Miguel Rojas doing pretty much all the work out there. Not to go in and talk bad about anybody who's been playing third base or anything so far. It's been holding up, but I really do think that that's a big hole that we have in our defense, and one of the things that can definitely improve, for us moving forward. But we'll have to go in and see what happens with all that. I believe the Dodgers get a couple of days off, and then we're actually going to be starting another series. I will be breaking down just that series all over again. It's really just been a lot of 500 baseball. I was going to say basketball, but baseball, excuse me. So we'll just have to go in and see what happens when it comes down to all that. It is going to be just a thing of if they can hit some sort of a streak or something like that, and start to play some really consistent baseball, or at least kind of go 2 out of the 3 in most of these series, then we'll be in business when it comes down to all that. But we'll talk all about that as the season goes on. Again, as I mentioned, it's a long season, 162 games. We're only 23 games down so far. So we got 139 games, I think it is, or something like that. 149 games, something like that. But definitely a long season to go. We'll have to go in and see what happens. But I'll be here I'll be here to talk about it all with you guys. So with that being said, I do just want to take a quick moment to want to remind you guys about an Instagram page that you can definitely go and follow if you haven't done so already. Now, the name of the page, it is Rosie's Designs EST 2022. Definitely drop a follow on there. It is my wife's page where she makes these incredible chip bags, where if you have any kind of a event or party or anything like that going on, especially with the summertime coming around, definitely a lot of outdoor parties and everything and all this and that. So it would be a great way to go and add a little extra decoration or something there for some of the people out there. Cool little snack or something like that for some of the kids. If you have any kind of design or theme to the party or anything like that, I'm pretty sure my wife can come up with something that'll help you out. Or if we already have ideas of something, like say you already know what kind of character, colors or something like that, you can always just pass that on over, and I'm sure my wife will surprise you with the type of design she can come up with. So again, if you guys haven't done so, definitely check it out. It's Rosie's Designs EST 2022. Make sure you mention it to her that you've heard about it on the podcast or something like that. Maybe we'll throw in a couple extra ones or something like that. I'll try to go in and let her know. But for the most part, definitely go ahead and drop a follow. Definitely ask her any kind of questions if you have anything going on, or if you would like to know more about what the design is, what the what kind of design she can come up with, what kind of chips or anything like that. You can ask her any kind of questions on there, and I'm sure she'll be happy to go ahead and answer anything. So again, definitely going to drop a follow on there. It is Rosie's Designs EST 2022. So guys, with that being said, I do want to just jump right into talking about the Lakers, as they ended up coming away with that victory 111 to 101 on Saturday night. Made it a very convincing victory, if you ask me. The Grizzlies under 10 points for the first quarter. Isn't that crazy? It beats the hell out of that night. What was it, like under like 15, 19 points that we had in the first quarter over there in Memphis? Definitely great to go in and see that we were able to go in and shut them down that badly. I know that there was maybe some bad shots, whatever the case is, that they ended up making, but I mean, it in my opinion, besides really Ja and sometimes Jaren Jackson, or Triple J, whatever you want to call him, Jaren Jackson Jr. Try saying that 3 times really fast, right? No, I'm just kidding. But with Ja, Triple J, that's pretty much your offense right there. If those two guys don't go off with Ja, it just kind of happens. This guy, if he chooses to go off, he's gonna go off one way or another. And with Triple J, it's really a thing. Like, if you can really stick onto him, I mean, eventually, the dude's not gonna go and take over the game, at least not in my opinion. He can definitely do so maybe on the defensive side, but it's kind of difficult to do both things at the same time. Now, AD is maybe one of the few players that can do that, but even in tonight's game, you saw that it was a collective effort on the defensive side. You got to see that not only AD was doing his thing, but you also got to see that Vanderbilt was super locked in. I mean, it seemed like the dude, that's all he really did today, in last night's game. That's all he really did was just concentrate on the defensive side. He only put threw up one shot up there, and it was a 3. And it was damn near because they were daring him to do it. And it's totally fine when it comes down to it. And if he has that shot, he has to take it. Once he starts making them, that's when the defense is going to go and feel sorry. But even with that, it's not even one of the things that we really needed in tonight's game, is going to have Vanderbilt to be an offensive threat. The dude was able to go ahead and provide a whole lot of defensive, whole lot of defensive help. Even Troy Brown, having him on Ja at times definitely helped out, from what I ended up seeing, because I definitely think that with some of the other guards that we have, even including D'Angelo Russell, is not going to be the best option to go and put on Ja. Even Austin Reeves or Dennis Schroeder, I think it was a great idea by Darvin Ham to go and have Troy Brown guarding Ja at times, because Troy is a bit of a bigger guy. He mentioned it from the very beginning that he loves to go and guard smaller guards or smaller players, and get to see kind of why. He's even though him being bigger, he is quick. He is able to move his feet very well laterally. He is able to keep up with some of these quicker guys like Ja. So definitely great to go in and see that Darvin Ham was able to go and implement another strategy out there. You get to see that even him running like other offensive sets. They had that pistol action. They had some great dribble handoffs, and you got to even see that they were running dribble handoffs a little differently this time, even kind of doing like an X formation, if you would, where it allows for both players to actually be able to go and drive down the middle. So then you have multiple options when you're driving down towards the hole or towards the basket. So just definitely great to go to and see overall just all the different changes that the Lakers ended up making. Anything from the players to the coaching staff, those little minor changes that they ended up making, really allowed this team to be able to show. Like, in my opinion, we damn near embarrassed the 2nd seed, and that was a 2nd seed, guys. The number 2 seed, we damn near embarrassed them. So it's gonna be interesting to go in and see exactly what this team is going to be able to go and accomplish. I mean, I'm still really strong on my prediction that it's going to be the Lakers in 5. I damn near thought it was going to be a sweep, but I mean, that game 2, it is what it is. Hopefully now, the Lakers have a certain sense of like urgency, if you would. Just kind of knowing that they have that opportunity to be able to go up 3-1 in tonight's game against them, and then be able to go in and close it out over in Memphis, and be able to go in and send those fans home, upset and whatnot. It'll be nice to go and see that. But we'll see what happens when it comes down to all that. It is, in my opinion, just going to be an interesting game and an interesting way in order to go ahead and finish up the game from here. But definitely got to go in and keep an eye on what happens with the Lakers, what happens with them, whether if they're able to go ahead and just close it out. If they're able to go in and stay focused and everything, I think it should be a wrap. But we'll see what happens. Tonight's going to be another big game, of course. I got to give it up a big time to the Laker fans that were in attendance. Definitely ended up showing up big time. Definitely gave, in my opinion, the team a bigger boost, especially in that first quarter. But definitely great to go and see that. I feel like the Laker fans, especially including myself, have been dying for an opportunity to be able to just erupt like this and be able to go and cheer on the team and be able to be happy for them. It is one of the things that I feel fuels this a team. A lot of people don't think that the crowd makes a difference, but I definitely do. I definitely think so. Especially when you have a bunch of players, a bunch of people who pay attention to that kind of stuff. Who get a little certain oomph for something. Especially when you have veterans like a LeBron, like a AD, who have been doing this for years and years and years and years. It is a certain sense of like extra motivation or extra energy, if you would. When you have a bunch of people behind you like that and supporting you and cheering you on. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just kind of what I'm thinking. But I really think that's a big motivational factor. Now, I guess I would be stupid not to go in and talk about the whole Dillon Brooks thing. I really don't think that he's going to get suspended for this game, especially considering how big of a game it is and everything. I really just think that with the ejection that he ended up getting the other day, in last night, or in Game 3, would be enough. In my opinion, honestly, I don't even think it was enough for an ejection. Maybe it was because it was a little excessive, but I mean, the dude had no reason to go for the ball in that situation. I think he was just doing it just to mess around, honestly. So that's probably the reason why, if anything. But it is what it is when it comes down to it. I mean, I don't really think Dillon Brooks was going to make that big of a difference. In my opinion, if anything, it was going to probably just fuel LeBron to just play even harder or something like that, But regardless of the fact, big game when it came down to it. Just a fun game altogether when it came down to it. Just being able to see the Lakers be that focused, be that energized, be that motivated, that locked in. Definitely great to go and see. Rui, what else can I say about Rui, man? This guy is just on fire. I hope that it definitely continues on, because I did not really expect him to continue this type of consistency afterwards, But we'll have to go and see. I mean, the guy is averaging like 20, 22, 24 points in the series. Definitely great to go in and see, because that means that we just have another guy out there. That means that D'Lo doesn't have to go in and be that guy who's going to be consistently scoring 15 points every single game. You have guys like Austin Reeves, who he's going to get at least his. It's not going to be like 20 points or anything like that, but that Austin Reeves is at least going to get you 10 points, if not more, 10 to 15 points. Then you have Rui. He's going to get you 10 to 15 points. Then you also have D'Lo. He's going to potentially get you 10 to 15 points. Now you have all those different players besides LeBron and AD who are at least going to get you some sort of production like that. Now, come on. If these guys can keep it up, I really feel strong about this team. But, of course, you have to take it one game at a time, one series at a time. Ja at the end of this game, at the end of Game 3, was talking all that mess, talking about that it's gonna be a different game. And sometimes that is what happens. That when you have such a good fourth quarter, sometimes it carries over into the next game. But we'll have to see what happens. It is one of the big reasons why I love playoff basketball, because you get that because you're playing the same team 7 games, or potentially, whoever first of 4 out of the 7, of course, right? But you're playing them so many times that you learn so much about these people. You learn certain ways that they go, certain moves that they make and everything. So you have to adjust. And if you only have one thing that you rely on, if you have a spin move and that's the only spin move that you do, that's the only move that you do, eventually they're gonna catch on to it. They're gonna catch that timing. They're gonna get you right at that moment where you're getting ready to go and shoot the ball. If you don't have a little fake or a little extra move, a back move or a step back or something, if you don't have anything, a little extra shimmy or something, if you're not doing that, it's gonna eventually they're gonna catch up to you. They're gonna catch up to your timing. They're gonna go ahead and block the crap out of you. But we'll have to go in and see. I mean, it is just an interesting thing. I mean, a lot of people have been mentioning that that's one of the big reasons why the Grizzlies are maybe not going to make it far, because they only have that one pitch, because they only have jaw, because they only have, certain things that they do. And maybe that might be the case, but one of the things that I could definitely agree upon, or one of the things that I have noticed with the Lakers, the coaching staff has done a great job on being able to go in and set them up for success, not to go in and try so many things during the regular season so that way other teams can pick up on it. No, he's been really secretive of all the different things, all the different looks that the Lakers have. So I definitely think it's a great setup for the playoffs. And I'm thinking that it is going to be a great way in order for the Lakers, for Darvin Ham to go in and have a great first playoff, for his first playoffs as a head coach. So we'll definitely see how it goes on. Game 4 is tonight. Can't wait to see it. I'll be definitely doing a whole breakdown on it. If not Tuesday night, then, or if not for Tuesday, then definitely for Wednesday. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. Definitely just want to cut it there, as it was a big game again. As tonight's going to be another big game. We'll see if we can come away with it and make it 3-1 on the series, and then hopefully just wrap it up after that. So with that, definitely just want to appreciate every single one of you guys. Just want to say thank you, of course, to every single one of you who have been listening to the podcast and continue to listen to it. If you have any friends, family members, coworkers, etc., definitely go ahead and let them know about the podcast. Let them know to drop a follow. You can even check me out on YouTube now as well. So definitely drop a follow or subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. It definitely helps out with the podcast and overall altogether. So thanks again, guys, for everything. Hope you guys have a great Monday. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.